Good evening. I'm Athens Abell for On Watch News. My guest this evening has been in politics before, and he's getting ready to get into politics again. The political arena is much like a fish tank. Some fish tanks are small, with only a few fish, guppies, tetras, and other tiny fin friends, while others are large, with more room, for not only larger fish, but a greater amount of water in which to swim. No matter the size of the fishbowl or the amount of water they're in, the fish inside are still surrounded on all sides by walls of glass. Walls that sometimes are impossible to go through from either direction, either into the tank or out of it. But we're not here to talk about the resistance of those walls, but rather the transparency of those walls. My guest this evening is a former mayor of Modesto. He lives his life as seen through glass for those who want to stop and take a look. Mayor Sabatino has at times been ejected from that said fish tank by the very school with which he swam. He's now taken the plunge again. I'm not quite sure why, but tonight we're going to find out. Pulling papers and filing on the last possible day to run for the candidacy for District 3, is he a Johnny-come-lately, or is he a Johnny-comes-marching home? Welcome, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me this evening.
Appreciate it.
I mentioned taking the plunge again. What made you decide to run?
Well, nobody else would do it.
You know, I saw an article in the paper that was actually like a call to duty for citizens to come forward and run for offices.
Yes, but they don't want me to run, but that's okay. Yeah, it's a call to duty. Yeah, but anybody but Sabatino. But this will be nice because, quite frankly, this campaign, it really won't be necessary for me to seek a dialogue with the editors of the Bee. They could have had that dialogue any time in the last 8 years, and they've chosen not to, or 4 years anyhow. So, but they are most welcome to come down to the restaurant and have a cup of coffee, and we can talk if they'd like to.
Well, therein are the walls of glass that I was speaking about, in that you have a restaurant there on McHenry Avenue, and you're there almost 24/7. So anybody who wants to stop and have a chat with you, you're right there to talk with them.
Yes, they are. And of course, I used to meet, when I was mayor, I met with the Bee every month, the editors, and we switched off. They would come to the office, and I would go down to the... Actually, they found out that they would much prefer to come to the office because it was a nice walk.
Now, where is District 3?
District 3 is south of Brixmore and north of Needham and Kansas. And then it goes west past the junior college to Morse. And on the east, it's, I think, Rose Avenue. So it's a district that was created when we decided that we would have district elections.
When did you decide that?
Well, actually, the people decided. You know that phrase, be careful what you ask for?
Yeah, yes.
Sometimes you have to be careful what you fight for, because I did fight for district elections. And once the people agreed and said that maybe that would be a good idea, the political machine came in and decided that they were going to draw their own boundaries. So actually, it's not been what I thought it was going to be. As a matter of fact, the developers, people like Zagaris and Petrolakis, they've gone one step further now, and the decision now is that the districts might be a good idea, but neighborhood associations might be better.
You know, you have a radio show 5 days a week.
Right.
It's called The Voice of Modesto,
right,
from 10 to 11, Monday through Friday. And I've heard you talk on your radio show about the neighborhoods, neighborhood associations. What is the difference between that and the districts?
Actually, the College Area Neighborhood Association is almost the entire district. And so the desire there is to, well, it's sort of like Acorn in Chicago. You do this community development, and there's a lot of good things that people in the neighborhood should be doing and are doing, but they shouldn't be taken advantage of by the politics of it. For example, the war on the homeless that's been conducted is a way to mobilize citizens to get rid of the homeless. Not to solve the problem, but to just get them out of sight.
Kind of sweep them under the rug and
put them wherever it is that they can't be seen.
We were talking the other day about the homeless situation and how the homeless may be gone, but now crime has gone up. Is there a correlation between homelessness and crime, or the lack thereof?
The police chief has said that they haven't arrested any homeless for burglary. I don't know if he's arrested any burglars at all, but quite frankly, I don't think it's the homeless that are burglarizing and causing the crimes. In fact, the homeless are really victims of other homeless, and we don't stop to think about that. I interviewed a homeless guy at what is now called McClatchy Park, and I said, well, why are you here? And he says, because it's too dangerous for me over at Grisada or Enslin. Really? So obviously there's a problem, but obviously the problem should be solved in a much saner way than just throwing it over to politics.
Is the neighborhood association taking charge of the homeless within their neighborhood? Is that part of their what they work for? Or?
No, as a matter of fact, on September 1st, the College Area Neighborhood Association will begin their own private police force. They've hired rank investigations. They've gotten 180 people to sign up. I think 200 was the goal, but so far they have 180 who have signed up for, I don't know, $25, $30 a month to provide security for the neighborhood. I think we pay our tax dollars, and the police should be doing that kind of work. I really don't want to see armed civilians on our streets.
So these are not trained police officers. Are they security guards?
I think so. Yeah.
When you were mayor in the years of 99 to 03, is that correct?
03.
What was the homeless situation then?
Well, times were so much better than in 99. We did have the gospel mission. There wasn't this created problem. You know, in 99, the election of 99, of course, was very interesting. That a lot of people have said, well, gee, you've run so many times. And, you know, and they're right, I have. I don't know of anybody that ran against Dick Lang, but I ran against him 5 times before I became mayor. But I was the outsider in that election. Kenny Friedman came in 3rd. And we had a runoff with Lang and myself. And the issue then and is now, actually it's getting back to basics. Let's quit borrowing money. Let's quit giving money away. And let's do whatever we have to do to solve problems rather than change the image, which is something that really bothers me in the sense that I try not to let anything bother me, but in this instance, you know, you have people clamoring to change the name and the vision of the city of Modesto. We didn't have to do anything like that. In 99 to 2003, I think we were proud of our city. We were solving problems. We were getting back to the basics of police and fire protection and of repairing roads. So there was no need to change our identity. Of course, my opponents would like to change the name now to family-owned and operated. I have no comment on that.
What is your platform for District 3, City Council?
Getting back to basics, and your introduction was so spot on for me because it referred to transparency, and that's what we need. We're seeing city council meetings where all the decisions have been made ahead of time. The council meetings are short because, well, first of all, you only get 3 minutes to talk. But there's a lack of transparency, and there's an arrogance that says we can do whatever we want to do despite what the people think. So if we can become more transparent and open so that there's a voice on the city council that says, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? And if we can't afford this, at least there's a vote. Now, the newspaper likes to, they want people who will agree, who will find consensus. I'm not there to find consensus. I'm there to make decisions for the best interests of the people of not only District 3, but the entire city.
Speaking of the newspaper, you've brought it up a couple times already. What do you think of what I call filtered media?
Well, as you know, this whole SCAP thing that broke recently, and we discovered that the editor of the Bee, Mark Vacher, has a son-in-law, Scott Monday, who's involved in SCAP. And so the Bee then is saying essentially that Mr. Vacher is going to step aside. He is not going to be involved in any meetings or opinions or writing on the subject. I don't think that's going to be possible because we have to ask ourselves, who's left there at the newspaper to guide the filter, to look through the filter? So there's another way of filtering the media that's even more evil, I'm going to say, than printing misinformation or agenda-driven information. And that's when they give you no information at all. And so we see it with various stories about there's 2-3 days, and then hopefully it'll die and it'll go away, and 6 months later nobody will remember or want to do anything about it.
It's kind of like old news, and yeah.
Well, it's more than old news. It's developing news is not carried. Let's let it go. So you can kill a story without saying anything.
Well, I heard that the only kind of bad press is no press. And so maybe by not printing anything, it just kind of goes away.
I wonder how many could tell what was the headline in yesterday's Bee. We can't. And so unless we are able to bring up these problems and address them, they'll never get solved.
Speaking of SCAP,